Some news regarding Ilia Topuria, because I do think that as of this morning, it's probably the biggest news of the day. So obviously by now, you know that he is not fighting on January 24th. You know that he is taking a bit of a break. You know that there's an interim title on the line at UFC 324. You know all that stuff and more. Well, over the weekend, he spoke to ESPN Deportes. I want to play those two clips in a moment, but I want to start with the new news first, if you will, because he posted on Instagram this morning an update on his status, and he also discussed what he's been going through. And I think it's worth reading because this is the most he has said about all of this. Over the past several weeks, I've made the difficult decision to temporarily step away from defending my title. This was not a decision I took lightly. However, when circumstances arise that threaten your personal integrity, your family, and your reputation, there comes a point when you must address them directly. In recent months, I have been subjected to severe and unacceptable pressure, including threats to disseminate false allegations of domestic abuse unless financial demands were met. These allegations are entirely unfounded. The truth is not a matter of opinion, it is a matter of evidence. All relevant evidence has been carefully preserved and documented, including audio recordings, written communications, witness statements, and video material. This evidence has been submitted to appropriate judicial authorities in order to pursue legal action for attempted extortion, falsification of evidence, misappropriation of funds, and personal property, and multiple threats. My initial decision to remain silent was made solely to protect my children, who are the most important part of my life. However, I've come to understand that silence under these circumstances does not protect the truth. It allows false narratives to take hold. Many individuals have faced similar situations, and time and again, the legal system has ultimately clarified the facts. Today, I'm stepping forward not only for my family and myself, but also to demonstrate that no one should be forced to yield to intimidation, manipulation, or fear. Those who know me can attest that I have never engaged in violence of any kind and that my life and career have always been guided by discipline, respect, and integrity. I have full confidence in the judicial process and will allow the legal system to determine the facts based on evidence. Out of respect for my children and the ongoing legal proceedings, I will not be making any further public statements. I respectfully ask that speculation be avoided and that my family's privacy be honored during this sensitive time. The truth does not require volume, it requires facts. Thank you, Ilia Topuria. So that is heavy duty stuff. Obviously, we knew that he was going through some personal issues and there's rumors online, and I didn't want to partake in any of those. I had not heard any of this. I had not heard any of these allegations or rumors, innuendo, any of that. And so you can understand even more so why he would want to step away and not focus on fighting or defending his title, because obviously there's a lot going on. It's extremely sad. It's, I feel for everyone involved. I feel for his family. I feel for his kids. It's an awful situation. And so let's see what happens. Let's see what becomes of it. And let's see when we can see him back in there. As of now, there's no real timeline set in place. He spoke to ESPN Deportes about that, about his decision to walk away. Here's what he had to say, and I'll read the subtitles for you in case you're just listening to the audio. Finally, Ilia, because what the public wants to know, you announced not the first quarter, that you'll fight in January. When would you like to fight? When you feel it's time to return? Well, Ilia says, as I've communicated, I'm going through some personal problems. I do not have an exact date when everything will be fixed. I hope that as soon as possible, as soon as it is solved, I will be ready to go back. In the octagon, I prioritize at this time the welfare of my family, of my children, my own. So as soon as everything is solved, I will be back to the octagon to give it the show that everyone deserves. He's then asked if he's going to be there. We are making decisions at this time, whether I'll make the trip on January 24th, but I hope so. I hope so. So that's what he had to say to ESPN Deportes on Saturday at his own event, WOW FC. I believe that was in Madrid. Interestingly enough, PT alerted me of this. It was actually streaming on Cristiano Ronaldo's YouTube page. So great, publicity. He's now teamed up with them, and they're trying to do big things over in Spain. He was also asked, by the way, how the UFC was handling the situation and the kind of support that they were giving to him. Here's what he had to say. I think a lot of people were surprised that you were not fighting in the first quarter, at least. But how is it with the UFC? Are they understanding? Because obviously all the fighters can go through problems such as what you are going through. How understanding was Hunter and the other people involved? The truth is, Ilia says they have been excellent. We have a special connection. I have understanding without having to give a lot of explanation, understanding from them. From the very first moment, they have extended their hand. I have been offered their support in any time I needed it. So I don't really know. I'm very happy for the support I've received from them, for the understanding, and also happy about the steps that they have to take. It has obviously been a conversation we have had, and as a promoter now that I have the experience, I also have the experience of going through this part of the sport as a promoter and not only as a fighter. I understand in many, many more ways that perhaps. So I am very happy, to be honest, because of the relationship that I'm starting to have with the UFC and for the understanding that they have had with me. So there you have it. He is very happy with the sport. He did also say that he wants to finish his MMA story and then go into boxing, but that's a lot of steps away, and I don't think we need to get into that too much. You do wonder, at some point, will they decide to make that interim belt the actual belt if he's not going to come back anytime soon? I don't think that they're going to be forced to do that for the January event. We'll see what kind of timeline he's on, how long this is going to play out. But if it's by next summer, perhaps they make that call. And perhaps that's why a guy like Arman doesn't seem too bothered by what's going on. These things can play out in many different ways, and you're on the outside and then you're on the inside, and everything changes in an instant. So just a very unfortunate situation for someone who, was on this meteoric rise, and will hopefully for him, if everything works out in his favor, be able to continue that rise. But obviously this is a huge obstacle on a personal level that he's going to have to overcome, and wish everyone involved the best, and hopefully it can be resolved sooner rather than later. And as he said, when there's children involved, it's just a very, very ugly thing, and a very tough thing to process. So that's the update from Ilia Topuria. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.